The following program is recorded content created by the Truth Network.
It's Matt Slick Live. Matt is the founder and president of the Christian Apologetics Research Ministry, found online at carm.org. When you have questions about Bible doctrines, turn to Matt Slick Live for answers. Taking your calls and responding to your questions at 877-207-2276. Here's Matt Slick.
Everybody, welcome to the show. It's me, Matt Slick, and listen to Matt Slick Live. It's the 2nd of February, 2023. So if you want to give me a call, all you have to do is dial 877-207-2276. Now, a couple things. I spent a lot of time today working on video clarity and stuff. It's really kind of become an issue, and I'm working on it. I've tried cable differentiation. I've tried, I researched the motherboard in my system. I've gone in and made adjustments. I did all kinds of stuff. It's a good break from some of the theology that I write all the time, but the goal is to try and make the experience here of coming here even better. All right, having said that, not a big deal. We have wide open lines if you want to give me a call. 877-207-2276. Also, if you want to email me, say you don't want to be on the air, you can email me a question or a comment, and I often get to them. And all you got to do is just write to info@carm.org, and I'm looking at it as I see. I'm just looking right at it. So that's what I do, and if you want to do that, you want to participate, you can. So you can just check things out. All right, and Let's see. It's got a lot of things going. There's a call coming in. Let me see. Let's see. Oh, boy. How do you respond to someone who thinks non-believers are better than believers for providing reproductive health care? I'd say, so killing the life in the human, in the womb is health care? So how does it help to kill? So just explain how that works. And generally, you're going to understand that the people who are pro-abortion, who are just full of anger and death at this, they don't have a heart of gold. They have a heart of wickedness, and they want to destroy life for their own convenience. They redefine it and deny it. They do all kinds of things that are just flat out evil. And so, though we can be delivered from it, and Christ's blood can free us from that, we have to turn to Him and trust in Him. So I would say that one of the things, when I've talked to, I call them pearl boards, I call them some other things, when I have discussions with them, I like to ask them a series of questions. And one of the questions, I'll begin with is what's in the womb alive? And I'll just say it's alive. They'll often come back, well, it's not human life. I didn't ask that. Is it alive? And they'll say, well, yes, it's alive. Okay. So it's alive. All right. Is it a dog? No, it's not a dog. Is it a cat? No, it's not a cat. Would it be okay to transport it into the womb of a dog? If it's not human, it shouldn't be a problem, right? And no, you shouldn't. Well, why not? And we get into this, and I go down that line, asking them to defend their position, and then I'll ask them when. And this is something to think about for those of you who approve of killing the babies in the womb, just for the convenience of the mother. That life that's in the womb, it doesn't begin at conception, incidentally. It continues at conception. The sperm and the egg are both alive, and they come together and life continues. So if you don't know when life becomes human in the womb, then you shouldn't destroy it, because you're actually saying that, well, I don't know when it is. Well, in that case, it could be any time, right? Then what they'll tell me is, they'll give me a date. They'll say, well, after 4 months. They'll say, how do you know that's the right date? It's just so easy to dismantle them. How do you know it's the right date? And then they'll say, well, it's the mother's body. She can do what she wants. Really? Is it okay for her to I take drugs, heroin. Is that okay? Just her body, right? It's her body to be in a car and drive around at 120 miles an hour on freeways. Is that okay? It's just hers and her car. And people don't think critically. They don't think clearly. And I'm dead serious. They don't think through these things. And the reason is because they serve death rather than life. They want death rather than life. And I'm reminded of, 1 Timothy 4, and it says, the Spirit explicitly says in later times, some will fall away from the faith, paying attention to deceitful spirits and doctrines of demons. And this is demonic doctrine to just kill the life that's in the womb of the mother. And just to kill it. Why? Oh, it's inconvenient. Why? Well, because, my job is more important. The women who are like that to me are disgusting. Their career is more important than the life of a child. I want nothing to do with them. That's not a woman. That's a female who's self-centered. And just like men and the counterpart who only want to have relations, they get pregnant and they say, take care of it, get rid of it. Those are males. I don't call them men. I just call them males. Real adults are other-centered, focusing on others, desire the welfare of others. They want for others to succeed. This is other-centered. This is what love is. And they're godless, they're loveless, and full of hate, condemnation, mockery. There's a lot of bad that's going on in the world. And this is a real evil. And I'm just going to say for what it is. It's an evil. And it should be stopped. What's surprising is how much God has allowed us to exist for so long in such abject rebellion against us. It's horrible. It is horrible. But more is coming. And I don't want to depress the crud out of everybody, but I just want to tell you that I've studied the Bible and what it says, and let me just tell you that because when the unbelievers are the ones who are in control, death follows. When they are in absolute control, death follows. And more will come. Sorry, it's depressing. And the reason I tell you is because you need to prepare yourself, just as Jesus warns people. You know the signs of the coming of the storm. He says, prepare. You should know these things. And get ready to flee the hills. And a lot of people think, well, we're in America, don't worry about it. What's happening is the water and the temperature is being turned up little by little, and Christians are becoming accustomed to it more and more. But more and more, people need to pronounce judgment upon these evils and the ones who do them, and we need to pray for them. But this is what needs to happen. There's a lot more I could say about it, but that's truth. Let's get to John from Texas. John, welcome. You're on the air.
Hey, good evening, Matt. I believe we spoke the other day about the logical absolutes.
I'm sorry? Say it again?
Yeah, I was saying, good evening. I believe we spoke the other day about the logical absolutes.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Yes,
Yes.
So with it being such a profound concept, I don't think we exactly struck the point I wanted to get to the other day.
All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, and sort of to help to help make this clear for both of us, I wanted to get to two things, which are I'd like to only focus on what you think the logical absolutes are, and share a logical syllogism with you.
Well, laws of logic are, for example, the three laws of classical logic, law of identity, law of non-contradiction, law of excluded middle. Yeah?
No, yeah, we're in agreement there. It's a different kind of logical logical syllogism.
Okay.
It helps run this by you real quick. I'm sure you would agree with it. So,
we'll
premise one is... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. That's all right, yeah.
Yeah, so premise one is the logical absolutes exist and are conceptual by nature. You agree with that?
Okay, yes.
Okay. Premise two, the substances that are conceptual by nature require a mind to exist. Do you agree with that?
Substances that are conceptual require minds, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Premise 3, the logical absolutes are not contingent on a human mind to exist.
Right.
Agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, so the conclusion is, therefore, the logical absolutes are contingent on a universal immaterial mind that exists, and this mind is what we call God.
Yes.
Okay. So, because you agree with this, the critical disagreement here between me and you, and perhaps what you and Matt Dillahunty disagreed with, is that the logical absolutes are conceptual by nature.
Okay.
Okay, and I pulled a quote from you to help illustrate the exact point I'm wanting to
Sure.
make here. Is you said God did not author the logical absolutes. They are what we would say a part of his nature. God cannot make A not A any more than he could stop being God, or he could lie, because he must operate under his nature. Would you agree with that? Is
Yes.
that what you said?
Yeah, he has to operate consistent with his own nature, of course. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So while the statement God cannot lie or stop being God may be a conceptualization, the nature that statement points to is not conceptual.
Yeah, it's a conceptual thing that points to something non-conceptual, right?
Yes. Are we in agreement there?
Yeah, the statement is a conceptual actuality that's pointing to something non-conceptual, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the statement's conceptual. Okay, good. Pointing to something non-conceptual. It's descriptive, okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So the nature refers to an inherent an inherent characteristics or qualities of something, while concepts refer to general ideas or understanding. We good there?
Boy. Yeah. I hit my cough button and it didn't. There, I'll be trying. Sorry about that.
No, you're
I'm
good.
gonna get a new one.
No.
Okay, go ahead. I apologize for that, but just
No,
can
you're
you repeat that
perfectly
last statement? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I'm just kind of explaining exactly what's the difference between concepts and nature.
Yeah,
to make sure
I'm
we're not
familiar with them.
ascribing nature with something that's conceptual.
Because concepts have a nature too, don't they?
Sure, but just because they aren't directly, and they don't really directly have a relationship. You could have a nature and not have a concept of it.
True. We perceive the nature of something through the properties that it reflects. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and just because you know you have this certain nature doesn't make the nature in itself a conceptual reality. Is that fine?
I don't know. It depends on what you're talking about. But keep going.
Well, yeah, I'm just talking about inherent characteristics and whether or not I'm aware of it or if God is aware of it.
Well, you went too general there. But keep going. Okay.
Yeah, so basically what I'm trying to say is because you have gone on record to say that the logical absolutes are part of his nature,
Yeah.
you were sort of equating it with his nature, what makes him who he is. And just because God can speak himself or describe himself to us doesn't make the logical absolutes conceptual by nature.
So you're saying these laws are not conceptual by nature? Is that what you're saying? These concepts?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. So if nothing exists anywhere, just say nothing, nothing, nothing. Does logic exist? Okay. Would logic exist then if nothing exists?
The logical models that we would build off the logical absolutes, such as propositional logic, first-order logic, those would not exist. Those require a mind because that's just what we've built off of them.
Okay, you got to listen. If nothing exists, nothing, do the laws of logic exist? There's one required answer. The answer is...
Yes, they still exist. Well, okay, no, they don't exist in this...
If nothing exists, then the laws don't exist because it's included in the scope of nothing. Come on, that was a simple one. That was simple. You shouldn't have stumbled on that one. Hey, we're going to break. We'll be right back, folks, after these messages, and we'll continue on this. We've got nobody waiting, so we'll do it. But 877-207-2276. We'll be right back.
It's Matt Matt Slick Live, taking your calls at 877-207-2276. Here's Matt Slick.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. If you want to give me a call, 877-207-2276. Let's get back to John. Okay, John, I'm going to ask you a test question, okay? See how your logic is, okay? If you jump high enough, can you touch the moon?
If I could jump high enough, could I touch the moon?
Yes. What's the answer? What's the answer?
Well, I don't think that is physically possible. In a hypothetical situation, I'd say yes, I could.
So the answer is yes or no. If you jump high enough, you can touch the moon. Is it
yes,
or no?
I said yes.
Okay, good. And because if you don't touch the moon, you haven't jumped high enough. The question requires an affirmative. Just testing your logic. Okay, go ahead.
Yes. Well, I was trying to exactly figure out what you were trying to do there, but I don't want to get sort of sidetracked with this.
Because you made a fundamental mistake earlier. I forgot what it was, but you blew it. But anyway, keep going. Keep going. Because if nothing exists,
I try to take that. I try to retract that. I said something exists when you said nothing exists, and I was trying to take that back. And what I was going to point out is that the logical absolutes, they don't exist in the sense that they're physical or non-conceptual.
They're physical and non-conceptual. They don't exist as non-conceptual, which means they are conceptual. Okay,
so if I were to take, I think we're starting to get a little sidetracked here because, like I said, I don't really exactly want to talk about what I think they are because I don't necessarily hold this naturalistic view, and if I did hold a naturalistic view, I would have to say they're either physical or conceptual. But let's just say, for example, that we live in a universe where God exists. Okay,
yeah.
And what I'm trying to point out is whenever you say that the laws of logic are part of God's nature,
mm-hmm.
that means that they aren't. And you're saying what God's nature is it's spiritual. Then the laws of logic can't be conceptual reality. They have to be, I guess, what you say, a somewhat spiritual reality.
Yeah, the problem here is to say they're part of God's nature is what does it mean? It's part of his lower third, or what? Does it emanate out of his essence and his nature? God is spiritual, but what that means, or it doesn't say spiritual, but spirit, which is not, it doesn't have a body of flesh and bones. We don't know what God's nature is, so we can't then say the laws of logic correspond to any particular aspect of God's actuality, other than to say we know that the laws of logic are conceptual entities. And whether you want to call them truth-bearing propositions or not, as some people like to do, we can get into the issue of their universality. They occur only in minds. They don't occur in the rocks. Now, some people come back and say, well, they occur in logic circuits. Yeah, well, logic circuits in computers are designed by intelligence. They didn't randomly come together. They have to be formed using the laws of logic in order to demonstrate their necessity in a physical sense. So even the laws of logic require, embedded in materiality, require intelligence. So I don't see any reason to say that the laws of logic, which are universal abstract entities, can exist apart from a universal mind, unless you can show me how. Go ahead.
Well, yeah. So I can't exactly. Of course, to say that they're part of his nature, and to try to figure out what that is,
it's hard.
It's incomprehensible. I wouldn't be able to put a necessary name on it.
I could say they reflect his nature, and well, what does that mean? Well, I'm not exactly sure. They reflect God's nature, might be a better way to say it. Okay.
Sure, if they reflect his nature, I mean, does that mean God is sort of speaking about the logical absolutes from something that he is?
No. Now we're talking about, you can ask all kinds of questions. If God's thinking about them, he already would have known about them. They're part and parcel of his own nature.
Sure, but whether or not God can comprehend his nature doesn't change his nature, right? Doesn't change anything about it. Just because God knows he can't lie doesn't mean he can ever start lying. Are you kind of getting what I'm saying?
Okay. Let's see. I can't hear anybody. It looks like the internet might be just talking out loud. Don't even know if what's going on.
Hello?
So Hello. Yeah. Are you there?
Yeah, it did cut out. I don't know what that was.
Yeah, I don't know either. I was just I thought maybe my internet went down, but I guess not. And things froze. So I don't know. Don't know what happened there. Okay. Anyway, let's continue.
Yes. And
Are you there? Okay.
I was really hoping I got something here, because last night I stayed up because I feel like I was able to get this through to you of the statement, A equals A. That is a conceptual reality. If I were to disappear, if all minds were to disappear, that statement ceases. But in this sense, we're talking about the statement in which that statement points to is not conceptual, because I can't have a concept of exactly what that A equals A points to.
It's Matt Slick Live, taking your calls at 877-207-2276. Here's Matt Slick.
All right, everyone, welcome back. We had an internet problem, looks like on my end, and it just tanked and went down, and then now we're back up and running. So we had some callers waiting, and I apologize for the difficulty and the confusion. I talked to the station on the phone, and everything seems to be up in place. So that's what happened. If you want to give me a call, all you got to do is dial 877-207-2276. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, and we'll just, we can blab. We can do what you want to talk about. So what I was talking about with this stuff there, I was entertaining the idea a little bit, talking on this. I want atheists to hear this issue. I know that a lot of people think that they've got answers to the issue of the transcendental necessities. Let me just tell you what these things are a little bit. And this is basic stuff. So I'll go slowly, okay? So I'm going to introduce some concepts: primary and secondary substance. Primary and secondary. All right. So you're sitting in church and you're seeing a bunch of chairs. You look at the chair in front of you. That's a primary substance. It's a chair. It's primary. It's right there in front of you. And a secondary substance would be the quality of chairness, which is all around you, all the chairs around you. They all share a quality. The primary is that thing you're looking at, and the secondary is the aspect of the concept everywhere. Okay? The aspect of the concept everywhere is a transcendental or universal. It's a concept that has universal applicability. And so that's what's going on. It's just a universal. And so the laws of logic are like that. Instead of being physical chairs, they're conceptual chairs, so to speak. They're conceptual things, or laws. They exist in different places. And so what's their nature? Well, their nature is that they're of the mind. All right? Well, how's that work then in an atheist worldview, for example? Well, there is no universal mind. How then do you obtain the universality of these laws? And that's a problem, because they have various solutions, but they all have problems. They don't work. But the Christian worldview is simple. All you got to do is just understand that God is behind it all. We can't connect all the dots because we don't understand the mind of God. And so we say, well, He's the one, His mind is everywhere, and we're made in His image, so we can participate and understand those things, those laws that have universal abstract quality to them, abstract being of the mind. And they don't vary. They're absolute. That is, they don't vary. And they're everywhere, not dependent upon us. So they're independent of us. So how do we come in contact with them? That's a good question. I don't have an answer for that. But what's the condition for their existence? The necessary precondition for their intelligibility would be God himself. That's the whole point. All right, let's get to Anne from Bedford, Virginia. Anne, welcome. You're on the air. Anne, I don't hear anything. So let's see. Okay. Well, we did have an internet problem. It may have messed up some. Oh, there we go. Oh, okay. That was on my end again. Well, welcome. You're on the air. Hi.
My question is about burial.
Okay.
I'm new to reading the Bible, about 9 months reading the Bible, and I want to understand if is burial part of the Bible. I cannot find anywhere in the Bible, and nowhere near through the whole thing, but I just want to understand, is burial required?
Required for what? Required for what?
Is it part of God's requirement to what for us to be buried? In other words, is cremation against God's?
Now, cremation's okay. Let's see, freezing, I guess. Being buried. Yeah. So they're all acceptable. Normally, it was just that they were buried. People were buried in the ground because that's what you do with a body.
Right.
I used to study different cultures back in high school. I really remember this one class. It was interesting. One culture buried people in the ground up to their waist, believe it or not. Another culture buried people by putting them in trees, strapping them into trees. So, yeah. I don't want to tell you the details about that one, but they put them in trees. Yeah, there's some other details about that. And so burial is just different stuff. People, what happens to people who, the ship sinks and they die and they go to the bottom of the ocean and their bodies are there. They're buried at sea, so to speak. That's okay.
It's one of the things I thought about, but I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't anything, because it'll be forever before I get through the whole Bible. I just want to make sure I wasn't baptism.
You wasn't.
I grew up in a major denomination. Mm-hmm. I grew up under parents who loved God, who loved their kids, who loved their community.
Okay.
And I didn't continue in that church in adulthood. And I would not now, ever. But
I want what denomination
to understand. I was baptized as a kid, and confirmed as a teenager.
Okay. Yeah.
Do I need to be baptized again?
Now, that's a tough one because you're talking about the Roman Catholic Church, most probably. So the Roman Catholic Church is not Christian. Okay, it's a false church, and it teaches a false gospel and idolatry and things like that. And so does the Eastern Orthodox. So here we go. Now I'm going to say this once through. We can talk about it. I could make the case that the baptism, even in the Roman Catholic Church, is valid. And the reason I could make that case is theologically I can connect the dots. So the name of the baptism formula, it's Father, Son, Holy Spirit. The Roman Catholics affirm the true God and the true Christ. They do. And they affirm the true baptismal formula in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Their problem is they add a false gospel, and they promote idolatry in Mary. So the question, aside from those other two things, is that baptism valid? Now, I'm not going to say it is, I'm not going to say it's not, because I can make a case either way. And so what I would say is this. I would say that if you don't believe in that baptism, and you're not sure, and you want to do what's right, you want to make sure you're baptized, I just say go get baptized. Just go do it. Because God's not going to get mad at you for trying to do what's right. You're not sure if whatever church baptism as an infant was valid. That's a whole other topic, infant baptism, because I affirm infant baptism, but not for salvation. I affirm it as a covenant sign, and it doesn't save you at all, but as a covenant aspect. I'm a covenant theologian. And if you disagree, that's okay. I got lots of friends who don't agree with me, and that's fine. It's a debatable issue.
No, I kind of agree. My next question, one more question, please. I have,
Sure.
Where I'm going to church now wants to baptize me, and they require me to put my testimonial on the internet.
Whoa. I need to know what church this is.
I have a problem with that.
Oh, I need to know what church this is.
Well, I know. It's a major denomination.
Is it Baptist or what? It's not Mormon, is it?
No.
Okay, Mormon's a cult.
Mormon.
Okay, good.
But the minister is requiring you to put your testimony on the internet, and
no.
I don't.
There's no requirement for that.
No,
there's no requirement.
Well, I know it's not a requirement of God, but I feel like I have a problem with it, and the older people in the church do too. But I just don't know. It's a stumbling block for me.
Ask them show me the scripture that justifies this requirement. Just to do that. So show me the Bible where it says. And it says you have to declare him publicly. I can do that in my church. I don't want to put it on the internet. I don't feel safe about it. I don't want my name out there. There's safety issues, stuff like that. Okay? So for him to require that is ridiculous.
Even if I don't agree, the church is recording every service on the internet. So even if you say no, it's going to be recorded. So
you go to him in private.
No,
hold on. You go to him in private and you say, I don't want to do this. I don't want it to be on the internet. Now, if he says baptism, it will be baptized on the internet, and you just don't feel comfortable with that, no problem. If I were your pastor and you said, I just don't feel comfortable getting baptized on, while everybody's watching on the internet, okay, no problem. We'll do it privately. We'll do it without it. No problem. That's how it should be.
Yeah.
Okay. He should not require it.
Okay.
And if he says, you have to do it on the internet, or it has to be on the internet, it has to be while we're doing it live, just go to find another church. Sorry, but it's just legalism and ridiculous assertion if that's what would be the case. Okay?
Okay, thank you. God bless.
I hope that helps. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, God bless you. Okay. That's interesting. I never heard that. Maybe she's not representing the pastor properly, and who knows, but it should not be required to have a testimony on the internet or do it on the internet. Hey, we'll be right back after these messages. Wide open lines. Give me a call. 877-207-2276. Be right back.
It's Matt Slick Live, taking your calls at 877-207-2276. Here's Matt Slick.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. Let's see, last segment of the hour. Hey, just want to let you know that we stay on the air by your support. And I do want to say thank you to all of you who have supported. We had a great matching funds drive in December, last month of the year. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. And I'll be making calls to people periodically. We have a lot of people to call. And I'll be making calls periodically. Not everybody just can't do it. But saying thank you. I'll be picking people. My wife will be picking people. Call this person. Okay, I'll just go. And say thanks and stuff like that. We do appreciate it. But if you do want to continue to support us, or you're thinking about helping us out, all you have to do is go to carm.org, CARM.org, and /donate, and everything you need will be right there. Also, let's see, I will be going to Israel the last 2 weeks of February. So the last day I'll be on the radio live will be the 17th of February. So Charlie is going to fill in, and Charlie's an interesting guy. He's the one who read me the quote that got me started in apologetics. We've known each other like 40 years. He has a good head on his shoulders. And so he'll be filling in. So save your questions for him and be merciful to him, okay? Because he's not been doing it for 18 years like I have. So that'll be that. And then when I get back, I'm getting back on Saturday and Sunday. So I should be back on the air on March 6th. And then tentatively scheduled to be in Japan on the last Friday of March, and go there for a Christianity tour in Japan, and that'll be that. To be there for a week and a half, and then a couple of months after that, I'm supposed to go to Southern California for a memorial service, and since I'll be going down there, I'm going to stay probably a week and do some speaking, see some friends. I grew up there. And if people want me to speak at their churches or Bible study or whatever, just all you have to do is just contact me. We'll be talking about that more later. There you go. All right. Wow, a lot of stuff going on. All right, and that's good. So what I'm going to do now is just get on to some of the emails that have come in. Let's see. This is an email that came in. If you want to email me, by the way, folks, for me to address your question or comment on the air, just email me at info@carm.org, CARM.org. And if you want, you can give me a call, 877-207-2276. By the way, I just thought of this. We're working on a social media page. I have to go over it probably tomorrow. I got so much to do. Oh, man. And I have to get some end-of-year tax letters things out. That took me a whole day to do my Excel wizardry and get everything prepped for putting it into another place and getting, oh, man. And so there's that. And so we'll be getting into that. Anyway, there's so much to do. And it's a good thing, though. I like being busy. I'm 66. I don't want to retire. What are you going to do if you're retired? What are you going to do? Hey, hon, what do you want to do? Stop asking me. Okay. An hour later, hey, hon, what? I'm bored. Go fishing. I did that yesterday. Well, don't bother me. That's how it's going to be, okay? So I'm trying to imitate my wife's voice, and it just doesn't work. I don't do that very well. Oh, I have fun imitating my wife. Hope she's not listening. Get a loving smack upside the head. What were you saying? Nothing. All right. So here's an email. Let's see, the mariner's chart as he sails the sea of life. That's it. That's the email. So I'm not sure what we're supposed to do with that one, but that's the whole email. Oh, wow. That was pretty tough. Hey, how about this one? Let's see. Yesterday, I heard your comments about dispensationalism, and in years past, I did quite a bit of research about dispensationalism. May I call and share what I learned? Of course you can. Yeah, call up. If you don't agree with me on dispensationalism, that's fine. I don't believe in dispensationalism. But if you do, call up. We'll talk. It's no big deal. What's the biggest mistake you've ever made answering questions or in apologetics? Kit asked me that question. I have no idea. I've made so many. It's like an iceberg of mistakes that I have made over the years. It's like, if I had to pick one, there's so many that could contend. So for the top spot, and that's just my opinion. And then there's a whole other set that other people would say, no, man, these are worse. So I've certainly made a lot of mistakes. One of them is putting up with Kit. That's a huge one right there because he's got issues. But no, I don't know. What can I say? If I were to say what's my biggest mistake, I could say I've gotten angry a few times at people, and I've always tried to work on that. That's it. You can be in situations where you're tested for a long period of time and you can lose it. That's always bothered me, and so I work hard to be as gentle as possible. I've made a lot of progress in that area. So there's that. I'm just kind of talking out loud there. All right, let's see. We got that one. Dispensationalism, if you want to call. I do not believe in dispensationalism. Let's see. What kind of categories of truth exist in your mind? I.e. your presuppositions that differ from someone else's. What categories? I don't know. See, Robin asked that. I would have to know what categories that they have in their minds. And are you talking about one person's mind or everybody's minds? I don't understand. And what would be a category of truth? Because is truth multifaceted? There are types of truth. I guess you could say categories. There's truth. We could say that which is reflective of the mind of God. We could say it's true that if you, add 2 + 2 equals 4. It's true that if you jump off that cliff, you're going to die. There are different types of truth, so I'm not sure we get into. I'm doing a study on differences between people on the topic of truth, not things we believe, think about normally, or rationally conclude via fluid thought. But rather, I'm interested in what fills our presuppositions that act like a truth identifier. Well, see, now that's the thing you got to talk about right there. What presuppositions do you have that are truth identifiers? Now, that's the thing, because you have to understand that someone who would have a presupposition in order to identify truth is assuming the truth of their own presuppositions. So this is the catch about things like that. I have certain presuppositions and I use them to determine truth. Okay, well, then how do you know your presuppositions are truthful? That's a question, and it's a good question to ask everybody. You could ask it of me. How do I know my presuppositions about God are true? Well, I can't prove to you that they are, that God's existence is. Well, actually, I think I can, but that's another topic. And so, we get into these issues. This is why presuppositionalism is very important. And what I'll do with people when we discuss these things is, hey, you have different presuppositions. And if you assume a certain position, and then your position, your presuppositional worldview, your base, your set of presuppositions and assumptions, if what it is can account for more facts and explanations of things, then you're on the right track. If it poses problems and then it can't account for things, then you should abandon that presupposition or that worldview, stuff like that. So, interested in what fills the presuppositions, that's worldview, such categories, which act like a lens we look through to see and understand the world or things in it. That's correct. As an example, categories like real, literal, material, historical come to mind. That's true. Now you're being more specific. Very good. These may describe your presuppositions made up of truth categories, but I'd like to hear from you. Well, I'm not sure. See, when someone asks me a question like that, I'm going to ask them questions. What do you mean by truth? And it's not me just challenging them. It's, well, what do you mean by truth? I'll write this down. And on what basis do you assume that's true? Because you have to have something you're working on in order to ask these questions, because you're assuming the truth of the ability of me to understand questions as well as people to be able to make sense in questioning. And that's fair. We can't validate every single thing everywhere. We would just go back infinitely in verifying this, and infinite regression of verifications. We can't do that. So, there are different categories of truth. Yes, I would agree. Like this, but what is this person says real? Well, what's real truth? Does it mean that which corresponds to actuality? Because that's a correspondence theory of truth. But then we have the problem of what is reality, and we get into the issue of the one and the many, universals and particulars. Then we have literal truth. I don't know what is meant by literal truth. You mean in writing down, literally, something written? What's a material truth? Is that the same thing as real truth? As the person is saying materiality? Historical truth. Now that's a different category, historical truths. Now that one I would agree. Yeah, there are truths that are related to history. Did Alexander the Great exist? You believe he did. Is it true? What's the evidence for it? Then we get at what's called JTB, Justified True Belief, and a tripartite methodology for determining truth values. This is a secularized view of things. This really gets deep as people get into these discussions and try and talk about them, and that's why you have to have more questions about them. Let's see. Well, there's a receipt for a movie I watched last night, The Foreigner. That was a good movie with Jackie Chan. It was a good movie. It's a serious role. When I watched it, I enjoyed it. Oh yeah, I gotta talk to that guy. Oh yeah, I gotta let's see, put this up here for a link. Okay, now I'm kind of rambling. I like that. I've been ministering to a Muslim on your Islam forum board. That's right. That's right. Another thing I gotta do is we need help, people who can moderate on those forums and get them more under control. And I'm gonna start praying about that. Maybe somebody you can pray about that too. Some people who would know how to work in the forums. Now the thing is, it can be quite tough. We have a woman, Dara, and she's great, and she oversees them and has moderators, but she needs more moderators to kind of go in and work with stuff. So I've got to go in and do that. I say I'm busy, and you know something? I really am. I am so busy, but I like it. And I'm so privileged that at my age, at 66, that I'm privileged to be able to do what I can do. Relatively good health, except for my stupid hearing issues. But hey, what are you going to do? And I'm able to help my wife and help others and stuff. And what a privilege. And you should think about that in your situation. I know there's a lot of people who want to serve God but don't know how, don't know what capacity. I got a bit of advice for you. What you should do is just ask God to be used. Now, He may prepare you to be used, or He may use you right away. Now, if He's preparing you and things suddenly get tough, okay, you asked for it. And, He's prepping you. Just write it out, go through it. And be used where you're at. There's the thing. Be used where you're at. Helping a lady get groceries in a car. Opening a door for someone. Mowing your neighbor's lawn. And doing various things where you're at. And to ask God to be used. Because the works that He would have ordained for you don't have to be radio, TV, and astronaut. They can be something as simple as saying hi to your neighbor, cutting the grass for him, changing a tire for somebody, just helping, just being good in the name of Jesus. And those are some of the ways to be used. And don't think those aren't valuable. Because I'll tell you, don't have time for stories right now, but I got stories where the weirdest things meant a great deal to people that you wouldn't think did, but God knows is why He used you. That kind of stuff happens. There's the music. May the Lord bless you. By His grace, I'm back on the air tomorrow. And just let you know, I'll be teaching Bible study tonight in 2.5 hours, 9:30 Eastern Time. It'll be on Matt Slick Live. So, Matt Slick YouTube. Anyway, God bless everybody. Have a great evening.
Another program powered by the Truth Network.